Hey guys, welcome back to another Nunchaku class. So, we're going to start off with our yellow chevron combo number 5. So, hopefully you remember what that combo is. If you don't remember what it is an outward figure 8 strike, a front strike on the same side. We're going to go up, switch, we're going to do it around the neck, part 1. Once we catch it underneath, we raise it up, and then the combo repeats itself. Outward figure 8, front strike, up, switch, around the neck, part 1. So make sure you're doing this along with me already. If you're not, go ahead. Outward figure 8 strike, front strike, up, switch, side strike with that around the neck, part 1. And repeat itself. Outward figure 8, front strike, up, switch, around the neck, part 1. Boom, catch, over the shoulder, outward figure 8, front strike. You can practice this while moving around. Might make it a little bit more difficult for you, and might not make any difference at all. Up, outward figure 8, front strike, up, switch, side strike, around the neck, part 1, and up. A few more times. Up, switch, strike, around the back, around the neck, up, outward figure 8. Front strike, up, switch, bam, that hard side strike, and then around the neck, and bring it back up, outward figure 8, front strike, up, switch, side strike, around the neck. So you can try to flow with it real easy, or you can add some power into some of these strikes. Here, boom, switch, side strike hard, and then around the neck. Raise up. Outward figure 8, bam. Front strike, up, switch, side strike, around the neck. Let's do a few more. Outward figure 8, front strike, up, switch, around the neck, part 1. I'm speeding it up now. I'm not putting as much power, but I'm going faster. Keep going. Alright, so that was just a nice little warm-up, getting warmed up with our older combinations. So now we're going to move on and we're going to do our combat strikes. So the very first combat strike that we're going to go over is going to be our forehand strike. Sometimes you might hear me refer to it as an inside strike, forehand or inside strike. It's the same thing when I'm referring to the combat strikes. If I'm not referring to the combat strikes, then this is an inside strike if I'm not referring to combat strikes. If I'm referring to combat strikes, it's going to be a forehand or an inside strike, which is here. So the reason we call these our combat strikes, 1, they're easy to hit something and still be able to control the chuck afterwards. 2, they always return back to both hands on the chucks right in front. So if somebody decides to throw a strike at me, I'm able to block. Boom, boom, and then I can do my strike, and I'm back quickly to being able to block again, move around, boom, throw a punch, strike, whatever it is. They return very quickly back to both hands on the chucks. And that's very important when it comes to sparring, because when you start sparring and you throw a strike and then you try to get your hand back on it, but you can't, but then you see a block coming and you try to block it like this, and then you realize your other hand's not there, and then it just crashes through and it hits you, and you're like, man, I should have had both hands on the chucks. All right, so that's kind of the idea behind this, is we want to be able to quickly return back to both hands on the chucks. So we're going to quickly review what our forehand strike is. I know I just showed you it, but when we're doing this, we want to make sure that we pass with our other hand over. Reason being is I don't want to accidentally, and I don't even want to purposely, hit myself in the face as I'm coming around here. So if I start spinning it too fast and I didn't pass it here, I run the risk of smashing myself in the face when I do that. It's not fun. I've never personally done that, but I've gotten close to it when I first started this, and I don't recommend hitting yourself in the face, ever. It's not fun. Just don't do it. So we're going to pass the chuck over our shoulder. This hand is going to circle, just like a front strike. Boom, and I'm going to come here. And now this hand is going to go right here. So as it bounces off, it's going to come right back into my hand. So if I was just here, boom. This is a good way to practice it, is that you can just bring it over and let it catch right into our hand. We can trap it on our hand or on our body, but the problem with that is if you trap too tight here, you might not get your fingers on it. And if you're wearing gloves, like you should be doing when you're sparring, then you might not get your fingers underneath and behind it, and you might end up letting go of it. So I like to have it bounce off my body and then into my hand. As long as we're consistent, it should bounce and come right into my hand each time. Here, it bounces. So I'm not quite trapping it. You can do that at first if you're just kind of getting the hang of where should my hand go. You can go there, but I like to bounce it off. Here, it bounces off, and then it goes right back into my hand. Also, that makes it so it's a little bit closer to the front, too. If I just trap it here, and then that strike's coming, I got to move it out. But if it's here and it's here, or if it bounces further off my body and I catch it here, well, now my hands are even closer to where it's at. So I'm using the bounce off to know where the catch is. So I can even bring my hand out here and have it bounce into my hand. I'm not going to do that when I'm actually doing the strikes, but you should have the ability to change where it's at, because we know and we're able to guide it on the way back so that it comes right back into our hand. Boom, boom. So now, you probably did that a few times. You're probably already going through the strike some. Maybe I'm going a little too slow, but either way, we're going to do the same thing onto the other side. So we're just going to strike here, and we're going to catch it. Boom, let it bounce off, and feed it right into your other hand. So we're not doing the whole strike yet, just letting it bounce off and catching. We're practicing catching. This is very important because you can strike something, but you also need to be able to defend very quickly after a strike. Here, here. Bring it across, let it go back in, boom, right here. And then try to close your hand around it each time. Don't just put it here and then kind of do that. Try to actually grip it. Try to grip it not with a monkey grip. Monkey grip is this, where the thumb's on the other side. We want to have an actual grip on it like that. Here, boom, catch. Here, catch. And catch. And catch. And catch. And catch. All right, so now that we can successfully catch the chuck after it bounces off our body, we're going to do the first part and then add that into it. So the first part, again, was I'm passing this hand over, boom, as I circle around. And then I catch. Pass over, circle through the strike, catch. Circle through the strike, catch. Strike, catch. So let's go ahead and let's do 10 of these. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So you probably did it on your right side because everyone likes to start on their good side. So now we're going to do it on our bad side. We're going to do a few practice ones first. So again, going through the motion, I'm passing it in front so I don't hit my shoulder, I don't hit my face. As I let it go, and I catch. Pass it, and catch. Pass, circle through, catch. You can turn your hips, or if you're not quite there yet, just get the motion with the arms. So let's go ahead and do 10 of these. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool part about this pass is it also adds power to it. Boom. Notice how I'm not even going to move my other hand, but I'm throwing it. So now when I move my other hand, I'm adding 2 sources of power. Instead of just a push, I got even more. Boom, I'm using both my hands to generate more power. Obviously, we want to attach our hips to there when we're really trying to crash through on this. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do one side, other side, right, left, just like that. So let's do this with me. We're going to do 20 total, so that's 10 on each side. Ready? I'm going to start with my right. Start with either side you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and that makes 20. All right, so that is our forehand strike or our inside combat strike. Remember, combat strike comes right back to here. Next, we're gonna go and we're gonna do our outside combat strike. All right, so outside strike or backhand. I'll refer to them both. So it's a backhand combat strike or an outside combat strike. Makes sense, all right? Inside, outside. Okay, so with the outside combat strike or the backhand combat strike, whichever one you want to call it, we're going to strike with a backhand. Then it's going to come up and quickly go right back into the front. So this one is a little bit slower. So if you watch how fast my inside strike returns back to both hands versus my backhand strike. It's a little bit slower. It is. Can it still be used? Definitely. And it does come right back because I come here and I basically do it a simple up. So I strike out, simple up, and then from my simple up, boom. Bam. Just like you do at the end of Blitzkata. Bam. Bam. So, outside. I'm going to start with my right hand, but here I usually end up turning my body slightly first and then opening up, simple up, bring it back. Here, boom, I turn my hips with these strikes. Here, up. Remember, when we're doing this though, I want you to bring it far out. So as we're striking, notice how far my hand is out here before I do the simple up. I don't want you to come in and have it right here. The reason being is if you have it close to your body on this, that ricochet could hit whatever you're trying to hit and then bounce back and hit you. If I'm following through way out here, boom, the ricochet hits, bam, it gets dragged behind, and it's out here, it's far enough away. Look, I can't get hit, and that's the whole idea. And then we just simple up, bring it back to the front. So let's go ahead and practice on one side. Ready? 1, up, back to the front. 2, up, back to the front. 3, up, back to the front. 4, 5, 6. And you can have slight angles on this, so it could go slightly down, or it could go horizontal. You can even slightly go up, but not too much. You don't really want to have an upward strike. I'll explain that later. What was that on? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to do the same thing on our other side. Ready? Here, goes up, back to the front. One more time. Strike out, up, front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, just like before, we're going to alternate sides. So we're going to strike here, back to the front, strike here, back to the front. We're just going to count 1, 2, 3, going up to 287. Now we're going to do 20. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice I'm moving a little bit. You can move if you'd like or not. That's 7, 8, 9. You can practice your side steps. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So that was our backhand combat strike, also known as your outside combat strike.